the runner-up?
No, because she wasn't not staying. They opened up a wide gap from the rest. The winner's just a better horse in this contest, and she's still quite. The winner's quite small and sort of rangy, not filled out yet, so she might develop into, quite a big backside sprinter.
Yeah, Ray Guest has a short touch with his fillies and mares, doesn't he? He's always had a very good record with them, and he's got quite a nice little filly on his hands here. She was the 11 to 10 favourite. She was quite well backed. Lapsus Linguae 13 to 8 and Broughton Sunpearl 66 to 1 in third, 12 round. Quick look at the time. 1:13.28 over 6 furlongs. So slower than You Don't Own Me, who won the second nursery on the card at 4:40. You Don't Own Me was carrying 9 stone 3, 8, 12 for Cry Havoc. So it's quite a alarmingly slower time, really. Right, Dundalk, 5:25, a maiden over 6 furlongs. Sceptical, 10 to 11. And My Excelsa is 7 to 2. 6 to 1 Eastern Star. Abanika, 7s. 10s Old Colonial. Marge Gunderson, 33s. Frisch's Joy, 40s. 50s Wisaka. Bluesman, 66 to 1. Dom's Angel, 100 to 1. The non-runner here is number 8, 10, Run and Sceptical. It's the 10 to 11 favourite. 6 furlongs the trip for this maiden, as we join Gary and Kate looking at them in the paddock a few moments ago.
Just having a look at the likely favourite for this Crown Plaza Hotel Race and Stay maiden. Sceptical for trainer Dennis Hogan. Joe Doyle on board for James McCauley. Promising third first to Kate. And I know a lot of people seem to feel that this fellow will turn the form around with My Excelsa, who was in front of him on that occasion. Given that it was his racecourse debut, I suppose you'd expect a nice bit of improvement, would you?
Yeah, exactly, and it's interesting. Tongue strap added here today. A really shrewd buy by Dennis Hogan out of the Godolphin stables at the August Doncaster sales for only 2,500.
We just actually come back on our left here is My Excelsa, number 11, who we were just talking about, finished in front of Sceptical that day. Filly who has been pretty consistent in her relatively brief career today, trained by Johnny Levins in the familiar colours there, Gary Carroll of owner David Spratt, and a British import, but as I say, has shown a bit of promise already, Kate, and it's just a question of whether she can confirm that form today, I guess, with the experience behind Sceptical. Might just maybe sway things.
No, exactly, but she's run consistent, very consistent since joining the Johnny Levins yards from George Scott's. Only a 6,400 buy by David Spratt back in the Newmarket sales back in July. And I think if she doesn't get her head in front tonight, she's definitely one that's knocking on the door.
Yes, and we can just have another look at the favourite, actually just going past us here now, Sceptical, who is by Exceed and Excel. I think the number 4, just going away from us there, I think the Connections have a bit of joy with horses by that sire in the past. I don't know whether that played any part in maybe this one's purchasing or not. And of course they're getting Yufton back after the claimer earlier on as well, so interesting to see how Sceptical gets on here on his second racecourse start. He's been very well backed, and we'll find out shortly whether he can deliver.
And those paddocks were recorded a little bit earlier on. Runners are now down at the start. I gave you a good look at some of them in the parade ring. The market's got Sceptical at 9 to 10 here for this, the penultimate race at Dundalk today. The second favourite to My Excelsior, who's bred for the all-weather, being by Exceed and Excel, is at 3 to 1. 6 to 1 Eastern Star. It's a rare runner on the flat on the all-weather for Henry de Bromhead. Abanika 7 to 1, 10 to 1 Old Colonial, Marge Gunderson 33s, Frisch's Joy 40s, 50s Wisaka, Bluesman 66 to 1, Dom's Angel 100 to 1, 10 to 11 though, Sceptical at the head of the market.
Thanks, Angus. Yes, there's another look at Sceptical, who's a powerfully built individual, isn't he? A real sprinter to look at him. See how he gets on here over the extra furlong today. 5 furlongs when he made his debut, and it certainly seemed as though to use the old cliche, the penny was really dropping late on that occasion. But went into quite a few notebooks that day, and well fancied to get off the mark now as a result. Of the ones we haven't spoken about, Henry de Bromhead's pair, Kate Abanika, who's got a rating of 64, and Eastern Star, who's actually rated the same. I suppose it would be a little bit low for a maiden winner, even at this late stage of the year here at Dundalk. Preference of those two?
Eastern Star can be slow away, but it looks like they're going to be off and running here now.
Yes, here we go.
Maiden over 6 furlongs, and well away Frisch's Joy with Abanika prominent, and so too handy is Sceptical. On the inside is Old Colonial making their first bend, and Old Colonial has picked it up, followed closely by Sceptical, a couple of lengths back to Abanika, and then comes Frisch's Joy and My Excelsior. Eastern Star is on the outside of Bluesman. Marge Gunderson's under pressure and out the back, heading across to the straight. Dom's Angel, and so too towards the rear with Sackham. Old Colonial and Garrod Broder turn in a couple of lengths in front of Sceptical, who's in second place in the orange colours, followed by Abanika and My Excelsior's trying to come with a run. Eastern Star is in the centre of the track. A furlong and a half to go. Old Colonial is picked off by a smooth travelling Sceptical. In the centre, red colours of Abanika. On the outside, Eastern Star with My Excelsior, but it's Sceptical and Joe Doyle racing on a couple of lengths clear from Abanika and Eastern Star, and at the line Sceptical wins going away by 4 from Abanika and Eastern Star, and then Old Colonial.
Well, it might have been a strong race. I think there's no question that it was a weak affair. The 2 64 rated stable companions have finished second and third, but Sceptical could do no more than win in a canter there for Dennis Hogan and Joe Doyle in the Macaulay colours, and taking a bit of pulling up after the race too. Kate, if you had taken a short price about this fella, that must have been so easy to watch, because you'd have known from an early stage My Excelsior seemed to be getting her fair share of kickback in behind, was not travelling anywhere near as well, and all it was a case of was whether this fellow would find as much as looked likely, and he's away and gone, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He really travelled throughout the race. He knew his job today, and you know, when Joe Doyle just asks him to quicken up, he puts the race to bed fairly quickly, and you know, he's really shrewd by, I have to say, by Dennis, buying him only for $2,500 back in August, and he's won $7,000 here today.
You at that sale?
No, I wasn't. But Henry de Bromhead would have to be happy with his 2 horses. Eastern Star jumped well today, and you know, they both run really well, and I think they've possibly just bumped into above average horse here in a Dundalk Maiden in November.
Yeah, still a good bit of placing by Henry to get a couple of fillies placed here off that sort of rating in a maiden, and as Kate said, they probably bumped into a fair sort here for the time of year in the shape of Sceptical. Just was a little bit keen early on, and I'd say Joe Doyle was happy when Old Colonial and Garrod Broder went on and gave him something to aim at, but from this point on it's just a total mismatch. Ends up a shade of odds on. Sceptical 11-10 on, Abanika 7-1, and Eastern Star 13-2. But it was really just like writing a piece of work, I think, for Joe, Kate, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Really impressive. And, you know, Dennis really made a name for himself, make a challenge in the sprinting category last year. And this horse, to me, doesn't look like he'll be bothered by dropping back to 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs. You know, he looks a real versatile horse and easy going. Of course, his dam was a winner of a Queen Mary back in her day.
Yes, indeed. Jealous again. Just showed a little bit of inexperience there when he got a tap on the tail inside that final furlong. Went a bit to his left, but it's all a learning curve for Sceptical, and I'd imagine he's only going to improve as he goes on. Be interesting to see what the plan is for him. I don't know whether there'd be a huge amount left for him on the winter programme here at Dundalk now.
I think there is. I was just looking